Matron, take them away.
And a warm welcome to one and all. Got a little bit of a special guest for you today, Mr. Ken Davies. How are you, Ken?
I'm good, Gary. It's good to see you. The sun is shining. All is right with the world.
Well, it's a rarity having the sun shining up here, that's for sure. But you're right. All is right with the world. Now, for those of you who don't know, Ken is an organizer of an event that's happening this year in London. And it's a fantastic Forex expo. And we're going to have a little bit of a chat about that. But Ken is also a trader. So we're going to have a little bit of a chat about that as well. So the expo is this. And this is Traders Day Live. It's a festival of trading and shared knowledge from guys that are literally at the top of their game. Steve Ward, Performance Edge coach. He only ever deals with city traders, top of his game. And you as a retail trader will have the opportunity to listen to him and speak to him. And as we go down, Mark, he's been around the industry forever, as is Glenn. Further down, we've got Charlie Burton, well known in the industry. Anna from the 5%ers, I know Anna personally. She's top of the game, very good, and her little speak will be worth listening to. And then we come down into Sol from the THE5ERS themselves, but Sol is a professional trader. He's very good at scalping. And do take an opportunity to check the 5%ers out. They do a live stream pretty much every day, and you'll often see Sol giving his experience. And of course, there's myself. I'm going to be there sharing my experiences. Now, the agenda that is on for the event is here. It's set up into sort of three main areas. If you want to come along and see myself, I'm following Charlie Burton, and you will see me putting trading in the real world, showing you how to grow a small account, but I'm also going to give you a battle-tested strategy. So it's worth coming just for that strategy, because it's not something that's in the public domain. I'm also on the panel discussion, and what you'll see from this is there's a big mix of expertise and education, because that's what this is all about. And it's going to be in London this year. And Ken is the guy who set it all up. So do you want to tell us a little bit about you, the person, and then how we're going to lead into this expo?
Yeah, well, I've been running events for a long time. I've been running events, all kinds of business events for 12 or 13 years now. But I'm also, on the side, a trader, Forex trader, indices trader. And for about equal amount of time, I've been involved in that game as well. And a couple of years ago, I got to know a company you know well called the THE5ERS.
Yeah.
And because I was talking about putting an event on in London, and anyway, COVID happened. The world collapsed. And anyway, long story short, they gave me a call about a year ago and said, Ken, you remember that event you were thinking about doing about trading? We'd really want to get involved with that. In fact, let's put that on together. So I got involved with the guys at the THE5ERS, an amazing business, and you know them very well, and they're very, very outstanding business for what they do.
Great guys.
Great people. And but they made certain things. They said, look, Ken, we don't want this to be about the kind of Lamborghini and swimming pool side of trading that we all see on YouTube every day. You know, we don't want that.
I know. Sorry for laughing. I do find it quite cringy when I say it.
Well, we all do. Well, those of us who have been involved in trading and making a reasonable fist of it know the reality of it, and it ain't that. So they said, look, we want it to be really driven by content. Great speakers there. We want it to be fun for people. We want an amazing venue. We want it to be a place where, just, you know, trading can be a lonely existence, where people can all come together, share their ideas, and really walk away from it at the end of the day with a ton of more information that makes them better traders than when they walked in that morning. So that was a bit of a project, and we said, yeah, let's see if we can get that off the ground, and we did. And so we're running Traders Day live on Saturday, 17th of June in West Church House Conference Centre in Westminster in London. To be honest, can't wait. We've got some great people talking there. There's a bloke called Gary Langley talking there. I don't know if you've heard of him.
He's a sod him, isn't he?
Well, you know, he's good though. So we created a little bit of a space for him to talk as well. But we've got some great speakers throughout the day, and it's just going to be a real festival of trading, really.
No, it is. And when you're talking about festival and you're getting such a group together, now obviously you were touching on people that make money out of this. In your sort of events that you've run, have you ever seen any traits that are similar in each one, or are each of the traders that you've come across individual, like these sort of completely far apart?
That's an interesting one, that. All the other events I run are not trading events, I should say that. But all the other, I talk to a lot of traders. I talk to a lot of companies who are involved in trading. And that's an interesting point. What I do find, there are certain commonalities you find in successful traders, in my experience. They tend to have a kind of an iron will. What I mean by that is they're quite happy to sit on the sidelines if things aren't lining up in the way they want them to line up. You know, not being in a position is kind of a position for them. It's kind of a, you know, they're quite happy sitting on the sidelines if their particular pattern doesn't emerge. And it's fine to walk away and say, actually, not today, thanks. That is, because that's where losers lose. And that's why winners don't lose anything. So they have this iron will. I think they don't follow the herd. What I mean by that is that they don't say, oh, I've got to get a 7-to-1 risk-reward ratio. Oh, I've got to get a 90% win, whatever. They say, no, I'm going to work out a system that fits my lifestyle, that has got a positive expectancy, and I'll do the historic back test to make sure it does. And if we'll go to that level of extent to prove to themselves, before I put any skin in the game, I'm pretty confident that this is going to deliver because it's delivered in the past. So that's the second thing I'd say that people have who are successful. The third, final one is, in my experience, and it's you know, I could be wrong, they tend to focus on one or two very key instruments to them. So they're not in the dollar, Turkish lira today, and then in the Polish zloty and you know, yen tomorrow, and then are in lean hogs on Wednesday, and then Thursday are going to take a punt on an individual share, and on a Wednesday, because it's the some reports coming out, they're going to have a go on the DAX. So many traders I know who fail, they're all over the place in terms of what they're doing. My experience of successful traders is that they say, no, this is mine. I own this. I know the rhythms of this. I know how it ebbs and flows. I know what days to trade, what days not to trade, because I know how its heart beats. And it's guys that have got a real grip on one or two instruments, I think, are also the successful ones. So you put all those three things in a bag, I think you get a successful trader. I think pretty much you've got all those three things in your bag.
Funny enough, what resonated with me when you said that about staying out as a position, because I often say that. I say sitting on your hands as a position, because you're not making anything. It's just break even. Because, and when I'm speaking to a lot of the guys in the Discord, and a lot of them are all excited, and they're exactly what you've just said. They want this product, they want that product, they want the next product. Oh, this one looks brilliant. And they're hopping and jumping around all the time. Whereas I often say, knowing when not to trade is as important as knowing when to trade. I don't particularly trade a Monday morning, and I don't trade Friday afternoons, because I find Monday morning is incredibly volatile. It's the market setting up for the week and getting ready for, well, just whatever the market's going to give you that week. And on Friday, it's calming down, because if we think about it, who drives the markets? Because us as retail traders, we certainly don't. It's big money. And what is big money? Well, it's a guy at a desk who does a job. So on a Monday morning, he's setting his desk up. On a Friday afternoon, he's clearing his desk. So I really want to be out of the noise. So it's like a filter for me.
Yeah, sensible.
That's kind of, so I resonate exactly with what you're talking about. And for all I can trade any asset, I genuinely can. That's just from experience. My own personal basket is 4 items, you know, and they are correlated. You know, I'll trade Eurodollar, cable, FTSE, DAX, and really it's because they're connected. So if one moves, there's a similar move on the other one. And I just know them inside out.
And this is what gives you edge.
Yeah.
One of the things that, you know, I talk to a lot of traders, and the first thing I say to them is like, what's your edge? And 90% of people can't describe their edge to me in 30 seconds. You should be able to describe your edge in 30 seconds, not you personally, but anyone should. Now, that might be, it's this particular thing I look for. When that plays out, then I press the green button. If it doesn't, I don't. That's an edge. You know, I have an edge. I know exactly what my edge is. But the number of traders who, if you say to them, right, you've got 30 seconds, describe to me your edge.
Oh, I can do
so
it
few can.
One word. Filter.
There you go.
My edge is that I filter noise.
Yeah,
and I'm very good
at it. That's great. That's great. I think that's a key thing. So many traders don't have an edge. And if you don't have an edge, you're the punter. You're the punter in the casino. And if you do have an edge, you're the casino. And I know which one I'd rather be.
Yeah, you don't often see a poor bookie, do you?
No.
But when you're talking of edges and things like that, I mean, from your trading background, and we'll kind of touch on that a second, then we'll get into this event. You only trade one asset.
I trade the Dow, yeah.
The Dow.
And that's it.
And you're a braver man than I am. I am terrified of the Dow. And I'll tell you for why. I find it to be incredibly quick, and maybe it's too quick for me. How do you cope with the speed of movement in that? Or are you, as you say, your edge is fixed? I have set rules, and it must do this, and if it's wrong, it must do that, and I've got it.
Well, what I do is I don't have any charts open. I never look at a chart.
Okay.
So I'm a chemist from years ago, so I've done a lot of stats over the years. And I decided ages ago I couldn't read charts. I looked at charts and imagined what was going to happen, and of course we have no real way of that actually coming to fruition. So I decided I'm going to do something different for me if I'm going to play around in this trading game. So I essentially, over a long period of time, developed a little calculation based on open, high, low, close of the previous day that gave me an indicator of whether the next day was going to be up or down. I know this may sound crazy, Gary, but
no, it doesn't.
This is true.
It doesn't, because pivots work on a very similar way. If you can, let's say, ride out some noise, but the positive expectancy is, for argument's sake, tomorrow is going to be greater than today.
Yeah,
that's actually a good system, because if you're reading the chart,
my calculation.
Sorry,
I can't do it. I'm terrible at it. So my system was to try and work out what the momentum was that was going to take it into the next day, and I do a little calculation that is dead simple, based on the actual information from the OHLC from the day before. And at 9 o'clock, it says, well, tomorrow is going to be an up day. Now, I'll simply And if I'm in a position, if I'm already in a position which is a buy position, I'll just keep it overnight. But if it changes, I'll swap.
No,
So
that's fine. It's no different.
And at the end of the day, I do the same calculation again, and I decide what to do after that. Now, that essentially, I back tested that over like a dozen years, and it has a 62% win rate, and it's a 1.1 risk to return ratio, and that's me, and that's what I trade.
Yeah, but if you think about it this way, all right, 62% hit rate. Well, my theory is this. I think if you're trading less than 50%, you're not trading, you're gambling. Because if you're doing a job, which is essentially what we do, you should be getting it right more than you get it wrong. Because if my car goes to the garage, he can't fix that 9 times out of 10. He ain't a good mechanic. Right? So that's my theory. But then if your return value is, again, positive expectancy, more than 1 to 1, you're outperforming the bank.
Yeah.
So making your money work for you. So personally, I wouldn't say it's mad at all. In fact, I think it's quite clever. I think it's an interesting concept. And if it works, fantastic.
No, it's a 20% year, delivers 20% a year in, year out.
Tell me a bank that would give you that.
No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't. No. So so it actually goes back to something you were saying earlier on. Actually, we've all got different ways of doing it, but actually, I think it's important you really understand why your little system works. You know why it delivers a positive expectancy. You've got it nailed down, but so many people don't have that nailed down, and they're kind of grasping at things, trying to hope this is the one that's going to be the holy grail. And there ain't such a thing.
Well, there isn't. I mean, X does not mark the spot.
No,
I think when it comes to trading, experience is the one thing you can't buy. You can buy a system, and it can be a battle-tested system. And I'm going to give one in the expo that we go to when I'm going to do the talk and talk a little bit about my life experience. But I'm also going to let the guys have a strategy that I personally use. And but there is another edge to it, and that edge is discipline.
Yeah,
you've got to have absolute discipline in what you're doing. So yes, it's a simple 2-trigger system, and it does have a management system inside it. But you said iron will earlier on. Now you need that. You need the resilience to kill a trade if it's wrong. And I think newer traders don't have that ability. They grasp at straws and they think, shit, I can't afford to lose this money. Well, they should be asking one question to start with. How much will this cost? I do. I ask that question to myself all the time. I know where I'm getting in. I know where my point of pain is, where I'm getting out. So I know what the distance is. I know how much that costs. And if I disagree with that cost, I've got 2 choices. I either don't trade it, or I half the position. And then when I half the position, I ask myself the same question. Can I afford it? Well, yes, I'm happy to. I can afford this trade. Good. Do I want to pay it full price? Well, I come from a business background like you. We don't pay retail for nothing, right? So I will then capitalize on that by breaking up the position. So I essentially stage backwards down into the stop, which actually reduces the exposure I've already agreed to. So if I lose, I'm not only at peace before I'm actually pleased because it cost me less than what I agreed to. Now, a new trader doesn't understand that. They'll just think, shit, that's going, oh no, I'll move the stop. Now, these are things that not a lot of people talk about, because all we really talk about is the big money. Whereas,
I remember you mentioning earlier that you've got this idea of this kind of return on investment thing in your head rather than risk reward ratio. And I think that's that's a very grown up way of dealing with it, because that's a business way of dealing with it. We are really if you're running this as a business, you'd be talking about return on investment, not risk to reward ratio, and that's a very smart way of approaching. What am I prepared to invest in this, and what is the outcome I expect, and what are the limitations around that? That's a smart way of doing it.
Wait, it is. I don't call it risk reward. I never risk anything. I invest. I'm investing X amount of money to get X amount of money. And if I've made a bad investment, I need to sort of narrow the field down, shall we say. So the investment isn't as bad a hit as what it could be, which is why I break the position up, because it means I can manage it. And I'm hoping when we come to this expo, and if you guys are interested in coming, because I believe it's only going to be face to face. It's not recorded. It's not sent anywhere.
No. It's only face to face.
Yeah.
I mean, this is one of the things we want to do because the events, or in fact, trading could be such a lonely existence. People stuck in their rooms doing their Dow trade or their DAX trade. We really wanted this to be an exchange of ideas where people can come along, talk to, firstly, here, amazingly successful traders, but secondly, also be able to talk about their trading to other like-minded people. The kind of conversation we're having now, really, where we're saying, hey, how do you do this? And, well, this is what I do, and that doesn't work, but, hey, this does work. That kind of interface between traders, I can't wait for it. I can talk trading all day, and I think everybody who's going to be there on the day can do the same. So it's going to be fascinating.
To be honest, I'm looking forward to catching up with some of my peers as well, because I have my style of trading. It's not everybody's cup of tea, but it works for me. I understand it inside out. And sometimes you can have a light bulb moment just by talking to somebody who does something slightly different. And that light bulb moment might necessarily change what you're doing, but it might refine it. Likewise, when I was saying about breaking up positions, that was a light bulb moment I had from an expo years ago. I'm going back 2016 now, because I was always 100% to market.
And I would say 99% of people are.
Yeah, break it up, but break it up.
It's a clever idea, that.
And the light bulb moment was actually because it was something we did 5 or 6 years earlier in the business. And I was like thinking, well, of course, it's a wholesale discount.
Yeah. No, that's a really interesting idea.
Yeah. So for me, the networking, for all I'm going to be a speaker there, and I am going to spend all day on the meet and greets and be on the professional panel as well. I'm interested to listen to what other people have to say.
I think there's going to be a million light bulb moments, and this is what makes it slightly different. Everybody's coming because they're interested in trader education. Everyone's coming because they want to get better, and I can learn from people who want to get better. And one of the things is always the case is I'm okay as a trader now, but I ain't the best in the world. There are going to be better traders than me there. And, I want to pick up everything I possibly can from these people because, it's just fantastic content.
Well, I'm going to wind that back slightly and big you up a little bit, because at 20% a year, without looking at a chart, I would say you are a good trader. I would say you're an exceptional trader, because I know when I look at a chart, sometimes it's like a spider crawling up the wall. So trying to predict that can be hard. But what you're talking about with the system that you work, it's mathematically based and sound and solid, and it returns an investment that a bank manager would bite your arm off for. So no, I think you're doing all right. I think you're doing well, Ken.
Bless you, Gary. You've always been one of my favourite speakers at this event. It's
all right. The check's in the post.
Thanks, mate. So yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be great, and it seems it's been in the pipeline for about 9 months. But we're only 2 weeks away now. So I just can't wait for it to happen. The other thing I should mention, by the way, obviously Traders Day Live is primarily funded by and run really by the 5ERS and Trade the Pool. I mean, they're running a huge competition there. $2.5 million worth of prizes going on there in terms of live trading, trading competition on the day. That's going to be an interesting part of it as well, I think.
Well, it is, and I mean, one of the parts of this expo that I like, or I think a lot of the people that's coming will like. I've been to them in the past, and they're really just a sales pitch.
Yeah,
this broker, my spread's this, or we have X amount of leverage, and quite frankly, by the end of the day, my head's battered. It's not battered in a good way. I'm just bored senseless, and I don't want to listen to a salesman bang on. And one of the reasons that I only put my name to the 5%ers is they seem to put the trader first. They are a business. They do have to make money, because obviously that's what we're here for. But they have a vested interest in pushing traders forward. And because of that, I'm very loyal in my way of thinking. Many companies contact me and I always turn them down, saying, no, I'll make my money off the screen. But because they have this loyalty, I can see that in this expo, because when I read the agenda, there isn't a sales pitch in it. It's just come along, we'll show you how this works, we'll tell you the reality of it, but we'll put it into a realistic expectation. Is that a fair comment to say about what they're trying to achieve on the day? Yeah,
I mean, they were very clear from day one, really. It's in the sense of, we could have sold millions of stands here to 1 million brokers. Now, we've got a couple there because, it's got to be paid for, but we've only got a couple. Normally, when you go to these things, you've got 48 of them. So we said right at the outset, that's not the model. The model is to get people talking at the event that people wouldn't normally hear from. So, for example, Steve, you're talking. That's going to be worth coming to see. Steve Ward, who's talking in the afternoon there. All his work is with professional traders. That's what he does, and he's outstanding speaker in terms of psychology, in terms of what's the difference between success and failure, how people are dealing with 7-8 figures manage their own psychology in terms of being successful. Fascinating content. Mark Holstead, who's talking there, he's been around a long time, in terms of YouTube stuff. Great guy. He's coming with some very clear ideas about in terms of how people can improve their trading from all the things he's been able to distill it from. So, they were very clear about this. We've got to make it about trader education. Everybody's got to walk away from that, not having felt they've been sold to for 8 hours, but they've been educated for 8 hours, because, we just want more successful traders than were around last week. And this event is going to be a fantastic way of raising everyone's game, really, in that way.
Excellent. I think that's about as good a way you could sum this up. And just to sort of wrap this up, I could talk to you for hours, Ken. I really could.
And we will in 2 weeks' time.
We will. And and if you ask me nicely, I'll even buy you a drink. How's that? Because we're going to the pub afterwards. Because everybody knows,
do as well.
I will be behaved on the day, boys and girls. I won't be swearing. I won't be telling dirty jokes. I will be behaved. Maybe. Okay. I'll just wait till I get in the pub. No, seriously, I'm looking forward to it, because we are after the event. If you are, is it the VIP members are coming into the pub with us? We're going to have a social event afterwards as well. Yeah. So it's not all work. There's a lot of play as well on the day, and I think
a lot of fun involved. A lot of stuff to do on the day, and at the end of the day, we've all got to walk away from that thinking we've had an absolute blast. But you know what? There are 5 or 6 things I can take away, and when the markets open on Monday or Tuesday, I can implement them, and they're going to make me fractionally better than before the event.
Super. And finally, if they do want tickets, because they are limited available now, it's nearly all sold out, but there's a few left. Where's best for them to get a ticket? I'll drop a link.
Best place to go is to the website, which is tradersday.co.uk. Live. Simple as that. Couldn't get any simpler. You'll be able to find all the ticket options there. There's some easy ways to be able to. They're not going to cost you a fortune to get involved. Tiny little risk, massive reward, if we want to put it in those terms.
Excellent. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure, and I look forward to seeing you in a fortnight. All the best to you.
Thanks, Gary. You stay in the green, mate.
I'll stay in the green. Excellent. Catch you soon. And that was Ken, organizer of Traders Day Live. Do come and support us. It's going to be a wonderful day, and you should, as Ken quite rightly said, take away more than you came in with. So as always, guys, trade well, keep your risk managed, but above all, do what you love, and the money will follow. See you all in the next one.